good evening all. Welcome back to the next video of module 4. In this video we'll cover what are the classes and methods here. So in the previous video we have seen classes and functions. So in this video we will see classes and methods. So even though methods and functions are same, there is some more difference between classes, methods and functions in case of classes in Python. So the classes that have been till now we have seen, they are just empty classes without having any definitions. Just we have declared some class, but we have not defined any methods inside the class. But when we speak about true object-oriented programming, class should contain class level attributes, variables or instance level attributes we say, and methods. So there will be a relationship between the object of the class and the function that operate on those classes. In object-oriented programming like Java, we have seen we define a class. Inside the class we define the global variables, then we define local variables of the methods, and the functions whatever we write inside the class, they operate on the data, means all the variables. Similarly in Python also we need to write the methods inside the class. So in this video we will see how to write these functions. Before that we will see some object oriented features here. So as an object oriented programming language, Python possesses some characteristics. Programs include class and methods definitions. Okay, obviously it should include class and method definitions. Most of the computation is expressed in terms of operations on objects. Yes, many things whenever we deal about say like adding of two complex numbers or adding of two time objects. So whenever we do such things, we take each and every attribute using the object. Okay, that is what we say. Most of the computation is expressed in terms of operations on objects. Objects often represent things in the real world, and methods often correspond to the ways objects in the real world interact. Okay, so we say what is object when we say it is a real world entity. So they represent the things in real world. The objects of one the attributes of one object are different from another object, so they are real world entity. Okay, so to have a relationship between the object of the class and the function, we must define some function as a member of the class. A function which is associated with the particular class is called as a method. Okay, so methods are same as functions, but there are some characteristic differences here, syntactic differences are there. So methods are defined inside the class definition or to make the relationship between class and method explicitly. The syntax for invoking a method is different from the syntax for calling a function. Okay, when we call a function which is not defined inside the class, directly we can call it, but when we define a method inside the class, when we want to call that particular function, we must use the object name. So that is what syntactic difference between the method and the function. Okay, so first and foremost thing what we need to remember or what we need to know is, whenever we define the functions inside the class or methods inside the class, one is init method. Already we have seen in many examples in previous videos, init method is directly used. So init method is used to initialize the parameters or the attributes here. So it provides a special method. The Python provides us this special method which is similar to constructor in method, as I said in my previous videos also. So other programming languages like in C++ and Java, constructor, how the constructor is there, similarly in Python we have this init method. So init indicates initialization. As the name suggests, this method is invoked automatically when the object of a class is created. So when we create an object, automatically init method is called. Okay, whatever parameters we pass inside the object, inside the class, so those variables or those values will be assigned to the attributes of the object. Okay, one example is here. Okay, so we'll see this example. So we are importing math here. So math we are importing. class point as we have taken in the previous example. Point itself we are taking. See this indentation, what I am speaking about, this indentation. When this indentation comes, this particular functions are inside the class. If they are aligned with this class, they are not inside the class. Okay, these are called as methods of this class point. Okay, as I said, init method must be initialized in every class. Okay, init method must be there in every class. So what we are taking, self a comma b, self a comma b. We'll speak about this, what is self and what is this. So self dot x equals to a, self dot y equals to b. So just we are initializing the values to the variables x and y. Okay, x and y are the attributes of this class for the point coordinates. Then we have another function called as dist here, that is to find the distance between the 2 points. You can see here the parameters passed to this dist function, self and p2. Okay, and this self is nothing but invoking object. Already I spoke about this in the previous videos. Self is nothing but a invoking object. Okay, p2 is the parameter passed here. So here we are using some Euclidean method to find the distance between the 2 points. What is this? D equal to max dot square root of self dot x minus p2 dot x square plus self dot y minus p2 dot y square. Okay, we have already have the idea of these 2 stars, means it is square power. Okay, so this will return the distance. Then we have this string function. This string function just calls automatically whenever the print function is called. We'll see about this also. So just we are passing the self, nothing but invoking object, so that will print the x and y coordinates here. So just we are taking here p1 object and p2 object initialized with some values 10, 20 and 4, 5. So it will print the p1 object and it will print the p2 object. So this I was telling about, when we take this print p1 is p1, this p1 is prints as it is, but when this p1 it calls this str function automatically. Similarly here, when we use the p1 equal to point object, this calls the init function. Okay, this calls the init function. 10, 20 are the variables values passed to this a and b, and they will be assigned to x and y. Okay, then this will find the distance, and the distance will be displayed here. Again, this distance is in terms of point. Okay, it is a tuple. Okay, some things we'll see about this program here. So every method of any class must have the first argument as self. Every method of here we have 3 functions. You can see first parameter in all 3 functions is self. Even though you are not passing any parameters, there must be a self passed to every function. That we have to remember always. The argument self is a reference to the current object. Okay, that is it is reference to the object which invoked the method. It is just like this pointer. In other words to say, it is just like a this pointer which we have used in case of C++. Okay, self invokes the reference to the object which invoked the method. That is what I said, invoking object. The object which invokes the method is also known as the, sometimes we call it as a subject also. So init method inside the class is an initialization method which will be invoked automatically when the object gets created. Okay, here what we have done here, that is what it invokes this init method automatically. Defaultly it will be called. Init method must be there in every class. That must be there in every class. Even though we are not initializing any attributes, we must define an init method in every class. That is a must here. Okay. And this dist method, you can see there it takes 2 parameters, self and p2. Okay, as I said, self must be first parameter in every method. Okay, so how we called here, that is important. How we called the dist function, d equals to p1 dot dist comma dist of p2. that what I said invoking object here is this p1. This p1 is invoking object, so this p1 is passed to self. This, the values of p1 is passed to this self, p2 is passed to this p2. That is why when we are taking the values of p1 here, we have taken it as self dot x and self dot y, not p1 dot x, p1 dot y. It is nothing but invoking object. Okay. One more method we have here, that is str method. So str method is a special method used for string representation of user defined object. Since all these p1 and p2 are user defined objects, in such cases whenever we want to display the values, it is better to use this str function instead of taking the print function directly. In turn, when you call this print function, automatically this str function is called. Okay, so that is how this particular program works. Next we will see about the operator overloading. Already we have idea of operator overloading in case of C++. We have done this. You have added complex numbers, many things we have done. Okay, so what the operator overloading is, it is an ability of an existing operator to work on user defined data type. Okay, p1, p2 in the previous example, point 1, point 2, these are what user defined data types. They are nothing but class objects. So the operators, existing operators, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, these operators, they have the ability to work on these user defined data type. Okay, so it is a polymorphic nature of any object oriented programming that basic operators can be overloaded. So to overload an operator, one needs to write a method within a user defined class. Okay, if you want to overload, you must have your own class. Inside that own class only you can write the overload the operator. So in Python we have some special set of methods which are to be used to overload the required operators. We will see the list in the next slide. Okay, so this is the list. These are the operators and this is a special function used in Python. Okay, so plus, minus, star, divide, mod, less than, greater than, less than, equals to, greater than, equals to, not equals to, in, length, str. See how they are used. There are two underscores at the prefix and two underscores after the function name and parenthesis. This is how a special function to overload the plus operator in case of Python. To overload minus operator, we have this subtraction function, sub. Similarly for multiplication, mul. For division, triv div. Okay, for mod. Okay, you have to remember all these. Less than equals to CLE, greater than equals to GE, equals to EQ, not equals to NE, in, contains, LEN, this is LEN. Okay, just you need to remember that if two underscores comes before and two underscores comes after for a particular overloading, that is a operator overloading. You have to remember this. Okay, we need to remember this. Okay. One example we will see here. To overload the operators, we are just adding 2 points here. Class point is there. Again, as I said, init method must be there in every class. Init method we have taken. So we have taken some default values, a equals to 0, b equals to 0. Whatever value will be passed from here, they will be assigned to x and y. Then we have add function. That add function again takes a self as a first parameter and p2 as another one. Self is invoking. So we are creating one more object of the point. Okay, p3 dot x equals to self dot x plus p2 dot x, p3 dot y equals to self dot y plus p2 dot y. Nothing but we are just adding 2 points here. That the p3 object will be returned. This is to str function is to print the point. Okay, then we have defined 2 objects here, p1 and p2. Okay, values will be passed to init method and they will be stored in x and y. Print p1, print p2, both we are printing. This comes here, p4 equals to p1 plus p2. Okay, p4 equals to p1 plus p2. These are objects here, p1, p2 are objects. We are adding 2 objects. So when this particular plus is called here, this particular line calls this add function, which is nothing but operator overloading for addition. Okay, so both will be added here, x and y of both objects. The result is stored in P4, in this particular P4 object, and you can print that P4. So that is what about the operator overloading. Okay. Okay, one more we'll take here, some complex problem we'll take here, that is addition of two times objects. Class time is there, init function must be there in any class, time to int. So this function, what it does, converts time to integer. If a time is given as an input, it converts it into an integer variable, nothing but in terms of seconds. Already we have seen in the previous videos how to convert the time to int. So first it will convert the minutes, then it will convert the seconds, then it will return the seconds. Then this function converts the integer value to time. If seconds are given as the input, it will be converted into a time. T equals to time, minutes, comma t dot second, div mode function just we have seen in the previous video. So it just takes these two parameters, divides and writes them in terms of tuple, that is nothing but numerator and denominator separately. Here minutes will contain the numerator and seconds will contain the denominator. Okay, then t dot hour equals to t dot minute, div mode minutes comma 60, return t. Okay, this function converts the integer to time. This function converts the time to integer, nothing but time will be converted to seconds, and when seconds is given as input, it will be converted to time in terms of second, hour, minute and second. Again we have a str function here, then we have taken equal. These are all this equal function is to, we are overloading the equal operator, self comma t, just we are checking whether two hours are same or not. Okay, then we have taken a, we are overloading the addition here, self comma t, two objects we have for self is one, t is another one. If is instance, we will tell about what is is instance function here. If is instance t comma time, return self dot add time of t, else return self dot increment. Okay, then we have add time function here, this it will add two times, self dot time to int plus t dot time to int, return self dot int to time of seconds. So what this particular function does is, this function adds two time objects, self dot time to int. Inside self, whatever the values comes, okay, they will be in the form of time and it will be converted to integer, that is seconds, plus t dot time to int, nothing but again it will be in terms of time inside the t, and in terms of minutes, hours and hours, minutes and seconds, again that will be converted to integer, means seconds, both seconds will be added here, seconds of first time, seconds of second time. Okay, both will be added and it will return that particular seconds converted to time again, and it will be returned. Okay, and this increment function, if you want to add some more seconds to the existing time, you can do it. So what we are doing, seconds are passed here, invoking object is self, seconds plus equals to self dot time to int. See, again we are converting time to integer here, that is seconds, those will be added to exist these seconds, and what we are returning, self dot int to time. So it is seconds, in terms of seconds it is converted to time and displayed. This r add function will add again two objects, but here there is a difference here. I will show you in we will execute this particular program, we will come to know operator overload. Okay, this is, try to run this. Okay, this is what T1 is 34000, T2 is 54500. Whether T1 is same as T2, equal function we have used here. Okay, equal operator we have, I will show you equal operator. Okay, this is equal operator we have overloaded. We are checking here whether two times are same or not. If they are not same, returns false. If they are same, returns true. Okay, then T1 plus T2, two times are added here. 340 and 545 both are added. 925 is the result. See, 40 plus 45 is 85, means more than 60. More than 60 means hours will be incremented, and in minutes 60 minus will be done. Okay, T1 plus 75. See, we are adding seconds to existing time. Function is this one, increment function does this particular thing, T1 plus 75. Similarly, this 130 plus T1, 130 plus T1 means, see, first we are taking here 130 seconds. So this is not possible just by using a normal add operator, normal add function. So for that we have to use R add, right side add. Right side add means, so right side first the object is taken, then the value will be taken at the left side. Okay, then we can also do it using sum. We have used the sum here inside the program. I will show you. Sum also we have used using sum function. T1, T2, T3, T4, four times we have here. T1, T2 and T3 is another one which is added, and T4 is another one. We have listed all those four times in list, then we have added them, and T6 is the result of that. So we got a T6 here, 22, 31, 15. Okay, I will just explain you some points about this particular program here, what is each instance and how this addition add function works here. So here okay, you are clear about this time to int and int to time. So some special method we have used is, that is equal here, is for overloading equality operator. So to say that one time is equal to another time. So when we performed here many different additions here, T3 equals to T1 plus T2 we have done, that is addition of two objects. T4 equals to T1 plus 75 we have done, that is adding a time into time to integer. And T5 equals to 130 plus T1, adding time object to an integer, but here integer is first and object is later. So there is a difference. That is why the normal add function does not perform that operation. Normal add or overloading operator cannot perform that operation. So R add, that is right side add function, right side addition function, we have taken there. Okay, means to say that this 5 plus T1 and T1 plus 5 are not same. Cumulative law does not holds good in case of this Python here. So we have to take that again different function, that is add. So add method here, how the Python is, it has a different surprising things for the programmer here. More facilities it will give. So add method here works same as a built-in sum. It is capable of adding multiple objects given in the sequence here. This is because of polymorphism in Python. So at the last we have taken sum there, T6 equal to sum, T1, T2, T3, T4, all those things are added there. Okay, multiple times add method is called there. Then we have taken sum of T1 plus T2 plus T, those things we have taken, T1, T2, T3, T4. This add multiple times, the add method is called hence the appropriate result comes here. Okay, so one more is there, is instance. It is to check the type of second argument. Okay, we have used the is instance function there. Is instance function checks the type of the second argument. If the second argument is time object, then we can call the add time method. Okay, in the here, what I say here in the add method, when we are overloading the add here, we are calling is instance. If this particular t is time, then only we can add. If it is not a time object, then we cannot add this. It is not possible to add. Okay, that is why we are checking here. If is instance, that is if it is a instance of time object, then only it is add time function will be called here. Okay, so this is how this particular program works. Then the last, we'll see some debugging things here. We have seen in the earlier videos also, this has attribute method can be used to check whether an object has a attribute or has a particular attribute or not. There is one more way to doing it, that is using the wheres. So what it returns here, if p equals to point of 3, 4 if you have taken, and if you use the wheres function of p, and it will give the output of that is these values what we have passed here, the attributes, available attributes of that particular object. Okay, instead of using has attribute, you can directly use the where's p, that object you have to pass as a parameter, and it will return you all the attributes of that particular object. You can also find it useful like this, you define print attributes of object. For attribute inverse object, print attribute comma get attribute of object comma attribute, means this wheres will return all the attributes. Okay, just you can print them using this print method here. Print attribute comma get attribute of object comma attribute, means its value will be returned here. Okay, so this is all about what classes and functions. This is the end of the fourth module. So in the next class, in the next video, we will come up with the fifth module, first video of the fifth module.